Gracefully, the king of swing. Nice, Art. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Drummers Education Connection, episode 164, Aging Gracefully. Wow, we're live.
What's that?
What? I don't like the looks of those teenagers over there.
Oh,
Get off my lawn.
Yeah.
It burns when I pee.
Oh God.
oh, man.
If I didn't say
What kind of
shit,
show is
would
this?
have.
Oh, man. It's June 4th, 2024. If you're watching this down the road. Welcome to our little dog and pony show for drummers. Drummers Education Connection is so happy to see you all. DEC for short is what we like to call ourselves. And we're here every Tuesday morning, Pacific time at 11 a.m. We are live, but we also broadcast the show. We stream it live, and you can go back and watch it on YouTube or on our Facebook page. Please like us on our Facebook page. And every week, we just want to share with you a little bit of inspiration about drumming, give you a little knowledge. And this is your show. You're welcome to join us, comment on the group, share your ideas with us. That's how we all grow, and that's how we all learn. So,
But you can only post comments that agree with me.
that's
If
right.
you disagree with Jeremy, you're out.
Together we bring over 200 years of experience. We kind of figured that all out, and so that makes sense that we should have an episode on aging gracefully. And with all of that, I hopefully some maturity comes with aging, and I've realized with maturity that I get by with a little help from my friends, and that there's a lot of power in a group. So we always like to start every show off with a good thing that happens to us. And the word on the street is that Jeremy Steinkohler has many, many good things. So we're going to kind of forfeit our good thing and hear about all of Jeremy's good things. Mine is just real briefly that we're all alive. So that's a good thing. So
Chip, what's your quick good thing? That was your good thing?
we're alive.
My good thing is that I woke up above the dirt and then I'm throwing it to Jeremy.
All right.
So, Jeremy, what's your good thing, bud?
Guys, for sharing your time with me, so I can share all my good things. I've got so much good that's going on right now. I'm so excited to share with everybody. So give me just a second here. And
He has so many good things that he needs notes.
exactly. Well, the first thing I'm going to share with you is just a quick photo. Why isn't it working? Come on.
He wants all the good things, and then it doesn't work. What the heck?
Oh yeah. So check this out. First of all, Evan, my son, is graduating tomorrow from high school, and he's going to Northwestern University. And my wife made this. This is his graduation cap that she made.
Wow.
A cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow.
Yeah. Super cool. But he had three performances this past weekend: Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights. No, Saturday, Sunday night, Monday. And he won for the third year in a row, outstanding soloist in his high school jazz band.
Awesome.
Wow.
And his high school jazz band pretty much swept all their awards and all their competitions this year. They won first place in the California State Jazz Championships, and their combo won first place in all the competitions they went to. And he had these two amazing shows this weekend. I had to share just a tiny little clip with you guys of some of his playing because it was so cool.
Awesome.
Just give me one sec.
Jeremy, while you're doing that, I just got to say, I think it's so cool that you're so proud of Evan. It's just
man,
so heartwarming.
Thanks, man. He's worth being proud of. He's pretty special. singing.
Wow, that was beautiful.
His that combo these are shows are part of the California Jazz Conservatory. Here based in Berkeley, and they have top kids from all over the area who audition for these groups, and so that's sort of like an all-star, the top combo at the school. They won a Downbeat Outstanding Performance Award, and then this next clip I'm going to play is from the big band, and these guys actually won the Downbeat Award, like the top. They were ranked the top 3 big bands in the country.
Cool.
And they're going to Europe to tour this summer. They're going to play at Vienne in France, North Sea Jazz Festival in Rotterdam, and Umbria Jazz Festival in Italy, and a bunch of other shows along the way.
So cool.
That's just phenomenal. These guys are incredible. So I'll play just a little clip of that.
Wow.
Anyway, that's enough for now.
Oh,
Dude,
beautiful.
he shows such musical maturity beyond, I mean, way beyond his years. His feel is just, dude.
Thanks.
What a great musician he is.
Thank you. I'm super proud. It's like I watch him play, and I'm just like bursting with pride and
I can imagine
admiration for him. We are playing a trio show together before he leaves for college. We're doing a trio show with one of my favorite bass players here in the Bay Area, where Evan's going to be the featured soloist and composer. So that'll be on September 8th at the Back Room in Berkeley. Nice. And then the last thing I've got to share, and thank you guys for indulging me so long, is the new album that I recorded with Erica Oba has just come out, or is about to come out.
Oh yeah.
Just a little quick snippet of one or two of the tracks for you real quick. So let me know if you can hear it. Oops. You don't hear that.
Yep.
Can you hear that?
Yep.
This is the title track of the album. It's called Ghosts on the Water, and it's written by Erica. She's a terrific pianist. Skip ahead a little bit.
on.
Like,
Come on. Come on. Who does that kind of stuff? Was that Peter Erskine? Was that Peter Erskine playing the drums?
Very
It
funny.
sounded like Peter Erskine to me.
Very funny.
wow.
That was badass, dude. The drum set, your tone was killer.
Oh, thanks, you guys. Thanks.
Man, now we know where Evan gets his feel, man.
Woo.
Damn, that was sick, dude.
Thanks.
I need a copy of that record. That's
I'll
great.
get it to you. Yeah, as soon as it's out. So thank you.
Congratulations, brother.
Wow.
Congratulations. Well done. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Time colder, folks. Jeremy, that was amazing. That solo, how much of that was improvised?
100%.
That's
Wow.
why you're the steamroller, baby. Jeremy, the steamroller Steinkohler, right there. That's it. That's it.
What about that ride pattern to the hi-hat? I mean, the timing was so perfect. The hi-hat.
Dude, that roll going into the song, that ride, just everything about that ride, Rick. You're right. Oh my God. Sorry, didn't mean to step on you. I'm stoked for you, man.
Thanks, guys. Can't wait to send it to you.
Very cool.
man. Very
cool.
Thanks.
Wow.
All right. So, aging gracefully.
Aging gracefully. So, I thought it would be interesting to share with you guys my student demographic. And
Okay.
let you know that 40% of my student base is 40 years and over.
Wow.
Cool.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So I broke it down 15 to 19 years of age, 14%. That's it for my student base. So not that many teens. 20s, in the 20s, I have 20% of my students are in their 20s, 24% are in their 30s, 18% are in their 40s, 10% are in their 50s, 12% are 16 over, and some of those include 70s.
Wow.
It's never too late, folks, to play drums, and it's
Right.
never too late to pursue your dreams.
Right.
And with age comes maturity, and hopefully with lots of good decision making and maturity, you can continue to have a better life as a musician. So sometimes people come in their 20s and 30s and they say, I missed my dream of being a musician.
Yeah.
Man, no, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
You're already established. You have your day job. Drumming is, you have to invest in a career in music, and you have that ability to invest in your career. So
Right.
embrace your age, and hopefully you have maturity. And so I thought we could talk about the ups and downs of aging. And this show was inspired by our great friend Fred Fisher in Boise. He doesn't know it, that the show was inspired by him, because he made a post the other day how he is getting older and he's all right with that. But when he went into Hot Topic, he felt a little funny.
Like funny, haha.
Yeah.
I come
Funny,
here
huh?
to amuse you. ha.
Yeah, you find me funny, ha ha. Fred, are we here to amuse you? That's awesome, Chip. Well, I guess we kind of are.
You know, one of the things that I have seen come up that is a cool thing to acknowledge and be aware of is like that you get these adults who come in and they're in their 50s, maybe they're in their 60s, maybe even older, and they're beginners again.
Right.
That's not easy, you know, to be a beginner as an adult, because you're established.
Vulnerable.
Right, exactly. That's my point. You're established in your field. You're a professional, whatever you are. You've been doing it for all these years, and then you come in, and all of a sudden, you suck as far as you can tell. You know, and your ear is usually far further advanced than your skills, and so you hear it, and you're like, "Oh, that doesn't sound good." And it's really easy to be hard on yourself and to be, you know, frustrated that you can't get your body to do what your brain here imagines or whatever.
Yeah.
I just applaud all those people who come in, and I tell them, hey, you know, why would you have expectations of sounding good when you're just starting out with this? So,
Right.
if you're okay with it, man, just keep plugging away, and you'll get better.
I think. Go ahead, Rick. Sorry.
Yours are more evolved than your actual skills. Because one of the things that I've noticed a lot of times is people come in, they don't play the instrument yet, and they come in with their song list of all the songs that they want to learn.
Yeah.
And it's so far beyond them to be able to do that. They might try some sort of, you know, if they have to do it, we'll work on it. But I always like, let's bring it down. Let's work in the book of like, here, boom, bop, boom, boom, bop, boom, bop, boom, boom, bop. Let's get that first before we do the rush tune that you have to play.
Right. Right.
step by step. So, people should give themselves a little break that that it's not going to come together overnight. Sure.
I think too we've touched on this in the past during different episodes, but it kind of this lends itself nicely to this, that if you are a player and you've been playing for a while and you're out there working and you're playing gigs and stuff, sometimes it also learning more and going and studying again with a drummer involves being vulnerable again, because you're putting yourself under that microscope. And I've had a few drummers that are out there working, right? They're maybe running in the same circles or whatever, and they'll come in and take a few lessons. And one of the things I often hear is, look, just don't say anything that I'm taking lessons from you. It's a bit of an ego thing, I think sometimes. And so I think that no matter how you slice it up, whether you're a beginner or you're a working drummer, sometimes our ego gets in the way. And so even if you're a beginner and, like you said, oh my gosh, I really suck at this, I thought I'd be able to play YYZ during my first lesson, but I can't, I suck, I'm going to give up. Or I've been playing for a while and I just want to learn, show me a drum lick or something, but you try to steer a person in that direction and they don't want to, they want it to be more of a drum hang. I think we have to, as we get older, we also have to let go of the ego. We have to okay, I'm going to this person to learn because they have information that I want.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes, well said. Hey guys, James Harrison, who's a terrific drummer and educator and sometimes watcher of our show. Welcome, James.
James, how are you?
He makes a good comment, which is that adults often expect to pick things up quickly.
Yep.
Yeah.
You guys experience that?
Oh yeah.
Constant.
Yeah. I think that when adults expect to pick it up quickly, because and especially if they've been playing for a while, because they may actually understand what it is that the drummer's doing. They might totally, okay, I get what this part is. I understand it. Well, just because you understand it doesn't mean that you can do it, right? So you have to do that. You understand it, but there's this bridge that this gap that has to be bridged. Yes. Of okay, I understand it, and I've got to go through the steps to be able to conquer it.
And I find that often that is a hindrance to students learning, right? Because they're so attached to it sounding good or fast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Often they equate those two things. That they practice it too fast and they struggle and they come in like, oh, this thing kicked my butt this week. I'm like, well, okay, let's get into it. Why did it kick your butt? And then they're playing, okay, slow down. And then they're playing it fine. I'm like, well, had you done it like this, you're being successful right now. You're playing it accurately. You're playing it consistently. And here you can build on this and get it faster, right? But if your problem was that you were practicing it too fast because of the ego that you had involved or the expectation that you had that you should be able to play it faster. Mm-hmm. It's such a simple thing. I should be able to do this. Well, guess what? Your body's telling you that you can't.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yep.
Well, driving a top fuel dragster in a straight line at 300 miles an hour seems pretty simple. How hard can it be? You take your foot off the gas or the brake and you floor it. Come on, I mean, you have to work yourself up to stuff. I mean, we all do. We sit here and like, okay, how did he play that? Okay, I understand it's a left hand, but my left hand won't go there right now. And you painstakingly work on those things. And yeah, I think with age, it can be a struggle as a educator to break all those things down with somebody with, who has experience.
What I was gonna say is that as an educator, I think one of my responsibilities to my student is to help them become better listeners. Sure. And hopefully my years of experience now have led me, I think one of the reasons why I'm a better drummer and musician is because I've learned to listen a lot better. Yeah. And to teach people to listen. Sometimes I'm just here in the studio, we're both with headphones on, and the drum lesson is we're listening. I'm just listen for that kick, listen to the tone, listen to how it's tuned. Listen to the muffling, listen to the pulse, listen to how they interact. And that's all the really, really important stuff. And I think that's the difference between a very, very amateur drummer who's doing a facsimile of a song and more of a pro drummer, a drummer who might get work, is knowing the difference. Because I know you guys have all had this. I have a student comes in saying, I'm playing Rush and I play Led Zeppelin and I play Tool and I play Miles Davis, and then they come in and they're not at all.
Yeah. I remember in one of my lessons with Dom Fimulero, he told me, he goes, you got to learn to listen to music. And this was like well into my playing career.
Right. Yeah.
So my ego jumped in and I was like, what do you mean I got to learn to listen to music, And you do. I mean, there's times, even to this day where I'll be working on a song and all of a sudden your ear perk up. Oh, I never heard that part before, and it may be a song you've been playing for a long time. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, wow, did you hear? I never heard that beat on the tom-tom, I didn't hear it. So as you get older, your ears get more finely tuned to those things, I think.
Right. And one of the best things you could do is videotape yourself, record yourself, just like they would do with a sports team, right? You're going to watch the game film afterwards. We should do that in here. And people, whenever I record them in here, they're always a little bit surprised at how far off they were. Or that's how you really know the technique. A teacher could tell you, hey, use more fingers than wrists, but until you see a video of it, it's harder to grab.
I often take videos of people to show them what things are looking like, and when things aren't lining up, like so they'll be playing something, they'll think it's accurate, and I'm hearing this flam between the hi-hat and the kick drum.
You just took my breath.
I'll videotape it, and then often I'll slow it down, because when you slow it down, that difference is exaggerated, right? And then you hear, and like, oh my gosh, I never even noticed that. And so that's another way of helping them train their ear to focus in on that cleanliness and whatnot.
I think that. Go ahead, Rick. Sorry.
My question is do you guys ever stress out about aging as a musician now, in general, and as a musician? And what do you do about it? Or do you not stress out and you're stoked because you're older? I mean, I imagine it's a little bit of all of it for all of us.
Well, you guys are really a whole different generation than me, so I don't really think about it.
Well, I think this would be a great thing to share with you, Rick. One of the things that I do. Let's see. Nope. Let's see which camera. I'm trying to switch my cameras here.
All this newfangled technology.
I know this new, standard. Okay. So I think that you should use this, Rick. I think that you should use a Duke Cannon big ass brick of bay rum soap.
Yeah.
I think that this will help you age more gracefully.
All right.
It smells good and it exfoliates. And I brought this for you. So.
Oh my gosh.
Is that our new sponsor?
I wish you know what? I'm on it. Okay. I'll make a phone call this afternoon. Let me see what I can do.
So Rick, you ask it again. What is the question?
Yeah, sorry. I had to be a smart ass there. Sorry.
The question is do you guys stress out at all about getting older as a human and as it pertains to our career as a drummer? Or are you pretty relaxed about it? Because I think we can all say there's a lot to be said for maturity and our experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And we definitely see a lot of older players, seasoned musicians getting lots of gigs, but maybe we time out. So some players time out. So do you guys stress about this stuff? Is it, and then if you stress out, how do you chill about it?
I don't stress out about it. I think there was a point in my life, in my career, where I was looking at my pictures and I was thinking, you know what I mean? Is like, I started going gray and I started dyeing my hair, and I started like chasing the whole stay ahead of the gray. Don't let anybody know your hair is going gray. Oh God, oh God, oh God. And then there came a point where I kind of just like let my guard down and said, you know what? I embraced myself as I am at this age, exactly how old I am. I'm as old as I'm supposed to be. And I kind of started accepting that. I think once I got over that stuff, I started feeling better about my age. Just letting it come and letting it grow and being proud that I got to be this old to begin with.
That's very well said, Chip. You just hit the nail on the head with that last sentence. Well said, my friend.
You know, I so much character too. You've got I mean, it's you're badass and you own it, and that's I think a big part of it is if you're confident and you own what you are and you accept what you are, it's not as big of a hassle.
Yeah.
You know what was weird for me for some reason, and I know a lot of musicians that put this this number out there when I hit, if I haven't made it or I haven't done whatever it is they consider making it as by the age of 30, then I'm going to do something else and I'm going to make widgets or whatever. Oh. And I don't know. I never bought into that. And I remember getting close to 30 and I was getting weirded out about it. And then after I hit it, I never thought about it again. I mean, like I really don't, it doesn't enter my mind. It's not, I don't ever worry about it. When it comes to, like Chip said, with the dyeing of the hair and stuff, I have two things to say with that. Number one, I used to, when my hair started falling out, because I had hair down past my butt, right? If you, there's a good picture of me in my new book. I did. I had a shameless plug in my book.
You can wax that, you know.
It was growing out of my ears. It was so weird, you know. But when it started falling out, I was like, I fought it for a little bit and then I just forget it and I cut it short and then I buzzed it and now I shave it and I just don't care. And then we are in a industry where it is kind of maybe youth oriented. I've heard it said, and I had a friend of mine. I had this conversation with him recently and I disagreed with him until he said it. And because he doesn't color his hair and he has longer hair and it's gray. And then all of a sudden, we had this conversation about it. And he goes, you know, when you look at the great musicians of the world, and he goes, look at Charlie Daniels. He's a big Charlie Daniels fan, this friend of mine. He goes, can you imagine if Charlie Daniels had come out and colored his beard and colored his hair and it was jet black and this and that, and he tried to hide it? You know, I mean, no, I think who cares, man? I think your gray hair looks great. I don't color my beard. And you know what? I would say to anybody that's out there on the stage and you're out there doing it and you're playing music, the only advice I would ever give, and this is just an opinion, dress age appropriately. I saw a guy, we went to a show up at the Whiskey recently, and there was this dude that was my age or older, and he was trying to dress like, you know, a 20-year-old rock and roll guy, and it just didn't.
Yeah.
And it was, he went to Hot Topic and bought, and I was like, dude, you really, you know, jeans and a t-shirt would look great.
On the other hand, let me play devil's advocate just for fun.
Okay.
Not that I, have been in Hot Topic, but like Fred just points out that he does color his hair, and he'll continue to do so until he's bald. And you know what? I say, man, if that makes you feel good about yourself, like, good,
rock on. Totally.
Who cares?
Totally.
And if you want to wear, Hot Topic clothes when you're 55, like, and it makes you feel good, power to you, man.
Rock on, right? Totally. Well, that's why I said when I said that, that's like, that was an opinion. I saw this guy and I was like,
I'm with you.
I wouldn't do that.
Of course I'm with you. And of course my wife and I would make fun any old guy we saw wearing like ripped, whatever.
Yeah, well, I'm wearing spandex next week, okay? So you guys deal with it.
I think is how you carry yourself. That's what I feel like maybe you could be older and wear youthful, but if you could carry yourself, I don't know. I think it's a confidence and a vibe. So obviously protecting that vibe.
Yeah.
So I think
that's right.
And I got my goatee and I don't care. I think it's kind of fun because sometimes it's salt and pepper and sometimes it's dark, and it's kind of fun because I could go back and forth, and I kind of like own it either way.
I think the older you get, you generally tend to I'm making generalizations here. Like you like music that's older, not, and like, you're not as hip with like the 20 somethings and what they're listening to and what they're playing. I mean, there's obviously exceptions, but like, and that's fine. You know, like we had our time when all the music that we were growing up with was popular and we were playing it, and now we still like that music, or maybe we play other new interesting music. But you don't have to be an anachronism. Like you can be who you are when you are, you know, and like the stuff that you like and play the stuff that you want to play and play with people that want to play the music you want to play. And, you know, it doesn't matter. Age doesn't matter.
I agree.
It's so true. What's so cool about so many of these classic rock bands that we see, and you see these older players, sometimes I'll see older guys get on and girls get on the stage, and they just kill it.
Yeah,
of course.
Kill it. And it's like, would you rather have someone with no experience or a lot of experience?
You know, and think about it. Like, I'm sure that when they were let's pick a band, Iron Maiden. Okay, Iron Maiden, when they were younger, and they're rock stars, and they're first starting out, probably the first couple of shows they ever played in front of a big crowd, there's probably a little bit of trepidation and I got to get all these little parts right, you know. And then as you get older, not only do you master the parts and you get them right, but they're having fun. And like you said, Rick, they're just out there killing it. And I picked that out of the hat. You know, I recently saw, you know, at a NAMM show a couple of years back, saw Jeff Hamilton playing, and oh my God, he's a statesman. And just, he gets up there and just owns it, man. I mean, look at Steve Smith. I remember seeing an interview with Steve Smith, and he was saying that in the 80s when he was in Journey, he thought that was the pinnacle of his playing and the pinnacle of his career. Yeah. And he goes, I see that as my education now. Right. And I was, and look at how well Steve Smith plays, you know. Yeah. I mean, right. I really think it comes down to playing. I know that I'm a better drummer now than I was when I was in my 20s.
Oh, so much better. So much better. I used to think I was a good drummer, and until I got older and realized I wasn't. If that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. That is so true. You know, the other thing too, Bart, you mentioned something about sometimes people will hit their 30s and they'll feel like, I've timed out. I better give up this dream. And for so many of us, these things don't happen. You know, we don't have those successes till we're later in life. You know, I had, you know, played in an original band that didn't make enough money to support me. So I had day jobs. And then I finally got into music full time in my 40s.
Yeah.
And thank God I didn't give up and put a timeline, some silly calendar date on limiting my life.
Yes.
And I don't think that I would have been able to handle the career and have the knowledge to do this in my youth that I have now.
You know what, Rick? I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Because you're a terrific example of like follow your dreams and who gives a shit about how old you are. But also because I think people often will take one piece of information or a limited set of data and make their truths out of that. Right. Like, so I didn't, you know, I'm making this up now. I didn't get called, or I auditioned for this gig and they said, hey, we really like you, man, but, you know, we kind of want to go with someone younger. Right. That could easily happen. And right. And then from that experience, you know, I might walk away from that saying, oh, man, I'm too old for this thing to be successful. Right. I'm too old to land a gig with a band that's on the up and coming, on the rise and all that stuff. And you know what? That's not true. All that happened was I didn't get that gig.
Yep.
Right. And it's really easy, is my point, to make generalizations and sort of pigeonhole yourself or limit yourself about what you think is possible based on a limited number of experiences.
Right.
Could be one, could be two, could be three. That doesn't mean the fourth one isn't the one where you do get that gig.
Right.
Because, oh, wow, this band, yeah, you're older, but you know what? You're the drums, you're in the back. They don't care. And you play great. And you make the band sound good. They don't care how old you look, you know, whatever. So be careful about, you know, deciding what you can't do and what's true based on a limited number of experiences. Because I guarantee you'll be able to find someone who can have an experience that's the opposite of that was also true.
That's right. You know, my sister-in-law, Laura Christine, is really making inroads and in her music career as a guitar virtuoso that she is. She just played in Hollywood, and she shared the stage with Slash and Buck Dharma of Blue Oyster Cult. And
That's cool.
it's
That's
a
cool.
great example of sticking with it. She and my brother-in-law Gene Hoagland played with an artist, Bear McCreary, who just put out an album, Singularity, and Laura's playing all over that album. And and it's just constant persistence, constant passion and love for music. And I don't think she would have been able to handle that at 20 years old, to sit there and play with her idols. That's
Right.
intimidating.
I remember reading a quote by Michelangelo one time, and he said something, I don't know the exact quote, but it was something to the effect, when he was on his deathbed, that he wished he could only live longer because he finally felt that he was understanding what it meant to be an artist. And we're talking about the guy that carved David and painted the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, and one of the greatest artists of his time, and his body of work still stands in awe today. I think if you are passionate about what you do, you're always going to be wanting to get better. I don't, whenever I hear somebody say something like, well, I play it the same way I always have, or whatever, they have an argument for why they don't practice. It's like, well, you're not into this for the right reason. As a musician, I don't think you ever stop growing. I mean, I hope I'm growing and getting better. I'm sitting here on this new practice pad that I got, and we'll talk about that next week, but I was just having fun on this practice pad, and I came up with this new little pattern, and I'm fighting it, trying to get my hands to work. I think you're always trying to get better. And as you get older, you find that you do get better, and you are able to apply it to the music that you're playing.
Well, that's great, Bart. And let's remember that most of the people who come to us for lessons, the vast majority, aren't professionals and don't even have professional aspirations per se, right? I mean, how many of all the students you've ever taught have gone on to become professionals? A handful, right? So the people who are coming to me at 50 and 60, they're like, this just seems fun. It's going to enrich my life. I want to play in a band. I want to play at our company Christmas party or whatever.
Right.
You know what? You can do that. You can get good enough to do it and enjoy it, and keep pursuing to keep increasing your level of enjoyment, because your playing is better and you're playing better music and you're playing with better musicians. And that's what it's all about. It doesn't, it doesn't have to be about anything but that.
Yeah. I had a student one time come to me he had been talking his whole life, I want to play the drums. I want to play the drums. I want to play the drums. And he never took lessons. He never did anything about it. And for his 64th birthday, his wife bought him a drum set and bought him a month's worth of lessons with me. And she goes, I'm tired of hearing you talk about it. You're going to be retiring soon. You got to learn how to do something.
Right.
You're going to go do this new hobby. So he started taking lessons with me, and he loved it. And for his retirement, him and a couple of the guys that he worked with put together this band, and they called themselves the Old Dogs, and they played his retirement party. Then they went on one of those blues cruises where you sit in. Well, he sat in with the first band, and word got around the ship. So the whole cruise, he'd be walking around the ship and like, Jim, come here, play drums. Because he just knew how to nail the time. He knew how to lay it down, and he held the band together, and he had so much fun. He's out there playing now. He's got a little band. Don't let age stop you. It doesn't matter.
That's right.
It doesn't matter.
So, as drummers who are all over 50 years old, who are making a living, I feel that we have had to have a lot of, responsibility and good decision making.
Yep.
As we've gotten older. So otherwise, I don't think we'd be on this show. I don't think we'd be doing this. And so I'm wondering if you guys can cite any examples of responsibility or decision making that you make now that you didn't make when you were young.
Yeah, you know what, Jeremy, you go with this one, because I've been jumping all over it. And then Chip.
Well, I will say I'm a lot more clear now about what I want out of my experiences playing music, and so I have less patience for playing in situations that aren't going to be feeding me in the way I want the music to feed me, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, I when I was younger, I would take any gig that came across my plate. And now I don't. I'm a little pickier about the people I play with, about the music I play, about the gigs I'll take, about the money I'll make. So, yeah, I mean that's certainly a piece of it. I'm more responsible to myself, more accountable to myself for making decisions that I know are going to be the right ones for me. Whereas when I was younger, I didn't even know. I didn't have any vision for what I wanted to do. I was just like wanting to play drums, and that was sort of as far as my clarity went.
Yeah.
And I think another piece of that is how you treat other people. Not that I ever treated people badly, as a younger player, but I think we learn a lot about music, but we learn a lot about relationships as we age, and the importance of them, and how to treat people with respect, and to be a person who acts with integrity.
Yep. Chip, what about you? Great answer, Jeremy.
I think that ditto to everything Jeremy just said. I mean, you're talking about my decisions from my experience, from what I see and hear about myself when dealing with people with gigs. It's like I take care of myself. I make sure that, and not in a greedy way, but in a fair way. And I expect nothing less than from people that I work with. It's very clear. It's understood. And if it's not a fit, then it's not a fit. And there's no harm. There's no fights. There's no drama. I'm just honest about where I am and with what I want and what I'm doing and who I'm doing it with. There's a lot of people that still call me that I say no to in a polite way, and I'll refer them to one of my students, and the students will go play with them, and it'll be great, and that's fine. I'm there. I'm more than happy to pass on the torch when necessary. I don't have to take every single gig that comes my way, and I'm content doing that.
I'll give you an example. Can I jump in with an example?
Sure.
So, Bart, you go first, Bart.
No. Go ahead, Jeremy, and then I'll chime in last. Go ahead. It's a great question, Rick. It's a deep question. So no, Jeremy, go.
It's a couple years ago. I was playing in a band, and bass player left town, so we sort of were hiring a bass player. Every time we'd have a gig, because they were just every few months, and for a rehearsal and a gig, you got to pay a bass player at least, I don't know, a minimum $100. I mean, whatever you tell them what the gig is and what they'll do it for. But then we played this gig, we had the rehearsal, played a gig, and another musician in the band didn't want to pay the bass player $100 because we didn't make $400 for the quartet. We made like 200 or something. It was like a terrible gig, and he said, "Oh, we only made 200. We should only pay the bass player 50." And I said, "No, this bass player we hired, as a not a mercenary, as a what do you call hired gun, to
mercenary works.
Yeah, and we gotta pay him a fair wage. Like we got to pay him for his time for the rehearsal and for the gig. And even if we lose money, that's on us. Like he's not part of the band, so
right?
You got to take care of people. And I think when I was younger, I probably wouldn't have seen that, wouldn't have understood that."
Yeah. Well said. You kind of, with age comes that maturity of knowing, right and wrong. I think for me, I like Chip said, I completely, if I said anything more than this, I'd be just echoing what you said, because I completely agreed with that. I definitely don't want to ever be the guy that would drop the ball on the band. And I know that not everybody has the same aspirations as me or the same desires as me. And when I was younger, it was like, steamroll it. Just if damn the torpedoes, let's go, And as I've gotten older, I'm like, okay, not everybody wants to reach the same goals or do the same things. So I have to definitely be aware of that. I don't take on the roles of, I try not to take on a role of leadership anymore, and it's not because I don't want to be a leader. I will gladly do it if I'm asked to, but I think with the role of leadership, as like if you're a band leader, you have to put up with some of the times people don't want the same things as you do, and I'm not willing to uh, like you said, Jeremy, do a gig just because it's a gig and I can make $100. I'd rather sit here and teach some lessons and make more money and work on my book and stuff like that than schlep my gear around and go play a gig just for the ego stroke.
Right.
And then when it comes to what I said a minute ago, not letting the band down, like I'm so fortunate to play in the band that I'm in, and it takes a lot of gear to be us. It's unbelievable amount of crap that we carry around with us to pull off our show.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be the guy that, you know, I want to, hey, I'll help you get the Hammond on stage and I'll grab the cymbal case and here's the guitar amps. I don't just walk up there with, my bag of sticks and go do the gig. I do everything I can to be part of the betterment of the whole. And I see that more clearly as I've aged, I think it's everybody's responsibility.
How about you, Rick?
That's, well, for me, I think responsibility and decision making have been so vital for me at this point in my life. I can be more particular about who I work with. When I was younger, I would just kind of take every gig and I would work with people who I think are kind of like negative people.
Right.
And now I can be more particular. And I'm actually grateful that I had a day job for all those years because I'm not financially dependent on earning that gig money, but I have to endure working with people who are really, really bad to be around, So it's a big responsibility. I think to choose who you work with, and it brings a better insight into that. They say if you sleep with dogs, you're going to get fleas.
Please.
and the other thing is now with decision making, it's health. You can keep on going and going and going if you really take care of yourself. Diet, exercise. Being a musician, man, you are working in bars a lot. And, it's just so easy to start partying and drinking. And so I'm much more responsible now. Now I might, for me, have a beer after the gig, rather than a lot more. Or no, not even a beer. And so I think that's a big part of it. So
I've always, I don't mean to step on you, Rick. But I have to say this. I've been very open about this on the show. I quit drinking 5.5 years ago, and I've been sober for 5.5 years. And it hasn't been easy. It's been really hard at times. But I've stayed sober. I've always been, and this was what was so hypocritical, right? I've always worked out and I've always done yoga. I've done yoga for years and lifted weights and done all this stuff, but I drank like a fish. So go figure, right? But I think at my age, because I have tried to keep myself in good physical shape and I kind of dodged a lot of bullets, I feel better now than I did when I was younger. I definitely physically feel like I'm like I did when I was in my 20s. I knock on wood, I don't have any problems with my hands. I have one little finger injury that's bothered me. And in what I was saying a moment ago about the gear that we have to carry, all my drums are in flight cases. Everything that I have is in Anvil flight cases. And we, again, guitar amplifiers, there's like 20 guitars we carry on the road, and saxophone and a Hammond and a Leslie and all this stuff, and we all have to carry that stuff. So I think that it's you have to keep yourself in good physical shape, to be able to pull it off, and then sit down and play a 90-minute set and then pack it all back up, get in the trailer and split and go to the next town. You've got to stay in good shape. You got to eat right. You have to do it. you know.
Right.
Well, and let's not underestimate that and how different that is for drummers as it as it is for often other musicians. Like we've got a whole bunch of gear to deal with,
Yep.
Especially when you're not on the road with a cartage company or whatever. Like just going to your local bar, you're hauling your drums, put them in the car, unload, set up, pack them up, put in the car, unload again. That's an extra hour compared to the sax player who walks in 5 minutes before the downbeat, gets on the piece and blows and goes home, right?
Yeah.
And that's demanding. That's for real.
Yeah.
One thing, though, I'm going to circle back around to this because we've talked about, I mean, the most important thing we've talked about is the Bay Rum soap by far, but we talked about, coloring your hair and trying to keep a youthful look. And that's okay. I'm going to sort of touch on that again, maybe. I don't know. Number of years ago, we played, and I won't say who the band is, but we played with a band, and they were a huge band in the 80s. They're still a big touring band, and they were responsible for a ton of number one hits. I mean, just a ton of number one hits. And we opened to them. We pre-showed them, and it was a big concert moment. It was one of those big arena concert moments, right? We did the show. It was an outdoor festival thing. We did the show. We get off stage. The headliner comes on, and they come out, and the singer comes out, and I was like, and this is an observation. This is not a judgment. I was like, oh my God, he just completely had let himself go so much that sometimes during the guitar solo or a part of the song where he wasn't supposed to be singing, he was over by the monitor board with oxygen. So of course I'm like, well, God, I hope he's not sick. I hope he doesn't have some disease and he's out here working still. Well, then later that night, we're all staying at the same hotel in their areas in the bar. And it's obvious it's a lifestyle choice. I think, and this is an opinion, it's not a judgment. Again, I think if you're responsible for that, you've recorded all these huge hit songs and you're out there on tour and your fans are coming to see you still, I think you kind of owe it to your audience to be able to get up there and do your job. I just do. And I could be wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. But
I mean, you know better than I do about people who struggle with addiction, that it's not just a matter of like what's right and wrong. Like that's a disease and it's a human you have to wrestle with. It has nothing to do with anybody else's expectations of you. Right.
Right. Well, I don't think it was an alcohol thing. I'm just saying it was it wasn't just alcohol. It was, he probably had never walked past the gym and maybe had a little bit too much ice cream. And again, I'm not knocking. I'm just saying, I think if you're in that position where you're doing that, you're playing those types of shows, I think you owe it to your audience to, okay, my lifestyle, everything is going to kind of focus on that. I don't know. Am I wrong? Am I wrong about that?
Right. I think you owe it to your fans to produce the music that they paid to come see.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. If you can't do it, then you don't. If you can't do it, then don't bring it, because if you don't have it, don't bring it. I'll tell you what. I saw one time Wilson Pickett, the great Wilson Pickett, right? Wow. And it was at Jazz Fest in New Orleans, and he was, old by that time. It was probably a year from his death, and it was an hour set, and the first 30 minutes of the set, he wasn't even on the stage. Like, it was the rest of the band and the guitar player sort of like, trying to fluff up the crowd. When I say Wilson, you say Pickett. Wilson, Pickett. And like that. And this went on for on and on and on. And then finally he came on stage, 35 minutes into the hour-long set, and he could barely sing. And, he sort of spoke a couple of lines, and then, long guitar solos, and, the best of the band would sing to make it feel like he was singing. But it was like, man, that wasn't a Wilson Pickett show. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was tough. That was tough to see. And I felt bad. Like, I hope the guy doesn't feel like he needs to perform just to make money or make ends meet, but he clearly can't do it anymore.
There's a few bands out there that are touring like that with the singer, especially where the singer just doesn't have it anymore, and they'll, I've seen him walk on stage and he'll sing the opening song and say something to the effect of, "I woke up with laryngitis and we're going to turn it over to," and then the singer for the opening band will come out and do it. And I've seen that a few times. And again, I don't, when I said that, I was kind of treading on ice a little bit. I don't want to come across as being judgmental or anything. I just think that you owe it to the audience to be there for them. That's, yeah.
And so many people are delivering that who are more mature, older. I mean, I saw Paul McCartney live.
Right.
I believe it recent, a few years ago before COVID, and
the Stones.
The Stones are out there killing it. Billy Joel.
I saw Ringo Starr doing jumping jacks and playing the drums, and
he's in amazing shape.
He's 83.
But he took really good care of himself.
Yeah.
Yes. Bart, tell us about Center Stream Publishing.
Center Stream Publishing is a fantastic company that I have been involved with for a number of years, and they are the sponsor for Drummers Education Connection. They have been they've been behind us now for a couple of months, and they are fantastic. Center Stream has everything you can imagine for drums. They have drum set stuff. They also have hand percussion, congas, bongos, everything. And then if you play any other instrument, guitar, you play piano, you play banjo. They kind of specialize in folk music type of stuff, banjo, mandolin, dulcimer, all these different kinds of instruments. They have books, they have DVDs, they have videos, they have all kinds of amazing, amazing stuff. So please check out Center Stream Publishing. Chip is putting the link in the comments below.
The link is in the chat.
The link is in the chat. Check them out. They are awesome.
Wow, I love it. Well, everybody, we appreciate you tuning in. Your youth is going to determine your future. You're building the blocks to your destiny every single day. And I would say get responsible, be wise right from the get-go. Invest in yourself in every way, in your body, in your mind, in your relationships, in your spirit, and everything. And you may one day in your 50s have your own podcast.
Be true to yourself.
Very true. Very true. Awesome. Thanks everybody for watching. Hey, who's on next week? What's going on next week, Jeremy?
Next week, our dear friend and also sponsor of the show, Chris Brady from Aquarian Drumheads, is going to be back on. We're going to talk about all kinds of fun stuff and have a good time like we always do with Chris. We'll talk about drumheads. We'll talk about the new practice pad from Aquarian, and who knows what else. You have to tune in.
I think he uses Duke Cannon big ass brick bay rum soap too.
I think he doesn't.
Probably.
I think he doesn't, and that's part of the problem.
That might, you know what, Jeremy? That's a very good point. That's a very good point.
Anyway, thanks you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Guys, love you. Wow.